You are bold, you are fearless, you are radiant. It's time to unlock the diamond from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hi, Fearlessly Beautiful, and welcome back to the BFF Empowerment Podcast. Today, we are honoring and interviewing one of our women on the rise, Miss Catherine, who is a phenomenal leader, author, and coach. And so we are looking forward to getting to know her and learn more about her on this awesome interview. So, hello, Miss Catherine. How are you?
Hi, Anita. I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I was reading about you and I saw that you worked and you left a six-figure job twice. And the second time you said it was due to wanting to take care of your health and no longer be stressed out and overworked. So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've always been really good at building businesses, and my background's in allied health. So I was a speech language pathologist, and very early in my career, I got offered the opportunity to take over one of my boss's side of the partnership. And from
Mm-hmm.
there, with my business partner at that time, we built a seven-figure business, and it grew immensely, which was amazing. But also our business partnership fell apart and it wasn't working. So in the meantime, I'd always wanted to do something for myself where I was
Mm-hmm.
my own boss. So I started my own company at the same time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, so as I built that company up, I kept expanding and, it got bigger and I was really grateful for that. However, when it got quite big, and yes, it was making a lot of money, turning over six figures a month, but at the same time, it was at sacrifice of my health. So I used to say to people, I work 24/7 because even when I went to sleep, I would wake up and have insomnia and keep writing it. First of all, I wrote out my to-do list and then I discovered this little function could delay send. So then I would get up
Mm-hmm.
and do emails at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I would just send all these emails and
Mm-hmm.
delay the send so I could hide my insomnia from people as well. And it was getting really bad to the point that I was seeing a naturopath every week, and I wasn't going to see him to improve my health. I was going to see him to maintain my health so I didn't have a complete breakdown. And I was on like an apothecary of herbs and things to keep my stress down because I was in chronic stress. I was in adrenal
Mm-hmm.
fatigue. I was suffering definitely from burnout. And it was
Mm-hmm.
only when I started my spiritual journey in that I realized that that's not what I was meant to be doing, and that also it wasn't the path I was meant to be on. I built a company that relied on me for everything. And if anyone
Mm.
builds a company that way, it's not sustainable long term. Short term, yes, but
Right.
long term, it's just incredibly draining. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to sell after lots of messages from the universe that I really needed to sell. So I
Mm-hmm.
sold the company. And then I was faced with my worth story because I always got conditioned you have to work hard to earn money. And
Mm-hmm.
I was earning good money, but I didn't believe I was working hard enough subconsciously. So I pushed all the money away from selling the business. And all of a sudden, we're living week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, how did we get back here? And it was incredibly stressful and incredibly just really hard to work through that. And then more stress came from that. And then finally, I found a coach who allowed me to see myself for how powerful I was and for
Mm-hmm.
who I really was. And it was through those shifts that I started attracting money out of random places. I got new clients. I was able to start my coaching business properly, which I've been trying to start and have no momentum with. And,
Mm-hmm.
actually be able to empower other women and realize that
Mm-hmm.
our life doesn't have to look like this model that we've been told that we need to live in. How often do you hear, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, your measure of success is you have to have this much money in the bank account, you have to have a house, 2 cars, a mortgage, 2 point something children, whatever that
Right.
might be, that you keep doing that, and you have to work 9 to 5, if not longer, and both parents have
Mm-hmm.
to work. But really, as a parent, I want to see my child grow up. And that was like a big motivating thing too. I wasn't seeing my family. I wasn't looking after my health, and I wasn't looking after myself. So when you start to choose what's your true values and your standards, it's then you can really start to make changes in your life that reflects what
Mm-hmm.
you want rather than what everyone else dictates to you what they want.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good. You said a lot in that. So I have a couple questions. One, what made you decide to do leadership as your primary focus?
Yeah, so I keep meeting these beautiful people, and I have a beautiful gift that I can actually see people's highest timeline. And what that means is that I can see their vision with them. I can see where they can shine. I can see what potential collaborations, connections they need to make in order to move
Mm-hmm.
forward in their life. And I have this deep, thorough belief that if we have this light inside of us, and if we can share that light with other people so that they can grow their light and share it with other people, then you can have this beautiful pass on of leadership. And it's through leadership and through your heart that you can truly change and impact the world. And
Mm-hmm.
if you can find, there's was that movement at the moment, like acts of kindness. Just be kind.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes.
See people for who they are, see people at their soul level beneath everything that's happening. And that is when you
Mm-hmm.
can start to create this change in the world. And that's why I was attracted to leadership and also helping people with their businesses, because I'm really good at that. I have
Right.
my track. But at the same time, it's at a different level because I've been through how to not build a business. So I can tell people
Mm-hmm. So
this
you
is what you
knew
need to
what
do.
to look
Yeah.
for.
Exactly. And also
Right.
this encouragement that when you're leading other people, like your version of success should be based on your lifestyle, not your lifestyle built around your success, because
Oh,
otherwise
that's
you're always
good.
feeding, yeah, otherwise you're always feeding this hungry ghost. So if anyone's
Yes.
heard of the hungry ghost concept, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. You're always looking for the next paycheck, the next big thing, the
Right.
next vacation, the next thing, and you're
Mm-hmm.
never at peace because you're always looking for something bigger.
You're not enjoying the moments and enjoying where you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
You also mentioned you desired to spend more time with your family. So how did you learn to balance like work life and balance after starting your own business after seeing how burnt out you were from your previous experience?
Yeah, so this is why this is why it's really good to have someone outside of yourself to point these things out, right? Because
Mhm.
the greatest thing my coach said to me just the other week was a mirror can't see herself. Because I was saying to him, why can I see all these things for other people, but I can't see them for me? And it's such a powerful thing because we need support. We're humans. We need connection. And it was through that process of working through him where I developed a set of standards for myself and values and non-negotiables. And one of my non-negotiables is time for my family. So every Sunday, no one can get me. So it's just me and my boys, like my husband and my son, and we call it family fun day. And we take turns choosing an activity for the day, and we go out and do things as a family. And I try not to look at my phone. I'm getting better at that. But, I disconnect. I make sure I have nothing booked in. I don't have any interviews. And if there's something I truly want to do, then I find another day in my timetable to swap it out for, because that is my non-negotiable. I need to have that day with my family and also for me to recoup and rest. And, it's also about learning to be present. So my family knows I'm really busy at the moment because I'm in a transition period. But if I'm working with my son, like, and being with my son, then I'm completely present. Like bedtimes are non-negotiable for me because my son and I get this beautiful time together, reading a book, sharing our day. We journal, like he journals and I help him journal, and it's about creating those really deep, intimate relationships, but then also learning how to have powerful conversations with your family. Because if you don't express what's going on truly for you and they aren't able to feel comfortable to do that, and you can't have those deep conversations, you're not going to go the long haul. And it's amazing how many people I've done, because I do readings sometimes for people where I channel into what's happening for them. And so many people at this a few weeks ago were all asking me, is my marriage ending or is my relationship ending? And the message was so clear. Have you actually spoken to them? Because often we forget to even have that basic conversation and say, hey, what's going on? This is how I'm feeling. How are you feeling?
I love that. Like, I love family as well, and family is really important to me as well. And I love journaling. I'm a journaler as well. I don't have children yet, and I'm not married, but I do enjoy spending time with family, and I think that's great. That's really important to have that time where you set aside that day, and it's like no interruptions, and even like you said, not being on the phone. That is
Hmm.
awesome. And so I think that's great that you prioritize spending time with your family. That's very important. And that also shows them like their value as well. And because I'm pretty sure they see you when you are busy and, teaching classes or having appointments. And so that also shows them like my mom is here, like my wife is here and she's making that time just for us. So that's very important. That's awesome. I love that. Um,
Yeah, it's been a transition. It's not just, it's not quick to do because it's really like learning more about yourself as well. Because when you
right.
have a deeper understanding of you, then you can understand what your drive is. And, a big thing is
That's
if you
so
can tap
true.
into, yeah. And if you can tap into your passion and you can tap into your purpose and find a way to bring those together to, serve the world around you, then you're
Mm-hmm.
allowed, then because you've got so much energy, because you're in a place of flow, you're in this place of this is what I'm meant to be doing in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You have time for everything that you want to do, or you make time. We forget that
Right.
we're in control of our schedules. And so
Yes.
often, we'll say, oh, we can't make that work, and for example, people freak out when I say I get up at 5 a.m. a chunk of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but that's so I can have my first hour of the day for me, or so I can
Mm-hmm.
collaborate usually with people in America because that's the time zone that works. And I just accept that. And that's part of my
Gotcha.
bigger mission. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, because you said it's morning time there.
Yes, correct. It's currently 10 to 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's crazy. Wow. But yes, that's amazing. So how long did it take you to build like your coaching business? How long did it take before it became successful? And I do feel like you did have an advantage because you had learned a lot of the business side of it previously, but how long do you feel like it took to
Well,
be successful?
yeah. Well, it's funny because I realized that I've always been coaching almost my whole career because I trained other speech therapists, I trained students who were coming through. It's just then I had to pivot and do a different model of coaching. And I kept trying and not figuring out that, it was my worth that was stopping me from attracting clients. And a lot of people don't realize that your business is a reflection of you. So when you're in
Mm-hmm.
turmoil, your business normally goes in turmoil. If you don't believe you're worthy of attracting people, then you're not worthy of being attracting people into your life too. So, it's through that and those understandings of yourself. So I joined with my coach, I think it was, I want to say October last year. And by December,
Mm-hmm.
I had 10 new clients, and
Okay.
like who would book up for programs with me. And then I had other clients as well who like in that last month, in like 30 days, I'd managed to have, 13 new clients. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, like this is really impressive considering everything else I was doing at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's now that I've had a pivot and moved more from, helping people be okay with themselves because we change as people
Mm-hmm.
too. So now
That's
I'm
so.
moving to, yeah, and now I'm moving to a completely different business. I just quit my job on Monday. So I'm
Oh
completely
wow.
transitioning out. yeah, jumping into the world and really truly trusting the universe because my soul was not happy, and when you learn to listen to
Mm-hmm.
that inner wisdom, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just last week before I quit that I was meditating and I got the message that you need to quit your job. And I'm like, I need to honor this because I knew if I didn't do that, then I would be missing out on a lot of other things. And as soon as I
Mm-hmm.
did, I had even more people signing up to work with me. I had new coaching clients. I had new podcast opportunities because I have a podcast as well. I had
Okay.
this money come out of really random places. I got
Mm-hmm.
offered a collaboration opportunity. So it's when you move for yourself, then the universe will
Mm-hmm.
move with you. But if you're not in alignment and not on the path that you're meant to be, you won't have those opportunities open up because you're constantly fighting yourself on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay, that's good. Congrats on stepping out,
Thank you.
quitting your job. You're welcome. So what is so it sounds like your the biggest thing that you help women to do is to identify their purpose and to help them know their worth to be able to be a leader or a leader in their own avenue.
Yeah, so they could be a leader, it might be just at home. Sometimes
Mhm.
as mums, we so suppress our own needs and we put everyone else's needs ahead of our own, and then to be empowered and to find your voice in that can be really powerful. Or it might be, you have a business idea and you're just curious about like how to start it or if you can even do it. And sometimes the greatest thing we can do is have courage, right, and jump into it. And failure doesn't have to mean that you're not successful. Failure just means a chance to learn and grow. And that's something really
Mhm.
important that, we have to decondition ourselves that failures, mistakes, setbacks, if you don't have those, you won't move forward. I heard the thing the other day that Thomas Edison listed 1,000 and something patents before, and only one was really successful, which was the light bulb. So you think
Mhm.
out of that percentage of success, right? But it just takes that one thing to get you through. And the other aspect as well is that I work with a lot of people who they're really powerful in their community. Like they have these beautiful visions for the community. But if you want to run community
Mhm.
projects, you also need to be able to sell the project and also attract the funding that you need to keep it going. So, that is like what I focus on a lot with these mums and these beautiful people around the world who,
Mhm.
trying to come back to realize they have the ability to do all of these things and providing them the support and challenging them as well when they need to. And I do use some tough love because sometimes I'm like, just do it. Why are you sitting
Mhm.
there mulling over it? Because,
Mhm.
when we sit in the energy and we don't make a decision, when we sit in that maybe, it actually drains us so much. It takes up
Yeah.
space in our head, it takes up space in our lives. The biggest thing I learned was if it's not 100% yes, it's a no. And that goes for
Mhm.
anything, even family, even commitment, anything like
Mhm.
that, and you make a decision. And if it doesn't work out, you just make another decision. It's like we're afraid of
Mhm.
getting it wrong. And it's
Mhm.
not getting it wrong. It's just that was the decision that felt right for you at that time. And the biggest thing I've learned is to just make the decision like that. Because when I mull over it, then my head kicks in, and then it's like, oh no,
Mhm.
maybe we shouldn't do that. And then you miss out,
Yeah, you talk
and then
yourself
you
out
miss
of
out.
it.
Exactly. And then you miss out on the opportunity of honoring yourself, of being in the moment. And that's such an important thing too that I teach anyone I work with to listen to what their gut and their intuition says, because there's so
Mhm.
much evidence now from the Heart Math Institute and other places where it shows that our heart and our brain, our heart and our gut actually has more receptors than our brain. So what we
Mhm.
should be doing is listening to our heart, following our gut, and then checking in with our head. We've been taught completely the opposite.
Mhm. That's true. So I do have another question. You did say that you started prioritizing your health as well. So did you make changes after starting your own business too? Like you were sleeping more, and maybe like scheduling out different things to get proper rest
I'm
and
laughing at, yeah, I'm laughing at sleeping more because I think I'm actually sleeping less. But in saying that, it's like a different choice. And it's funny because I talk about this with people and I just did an article about this on my Substack, but when you choose your sleep and where you can sleep and power up versus waking up because it's involuntary, or even if you're a mom waking up because your child's waking you up, it's a very different feeling. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
that I need to go to bed at this time because I'm getting up at 5 a.m. or I need to go to bed at this time because sometimes I get up at 4 a.m., depending what my needs are for that day. And it doesn't feel as draining. In saying that,
Mm-hmm.
tonight, I'm thoroughly looking forward to hitting my head on that pillow because I can feel my body's getting tired. And it's about learning to listen to that too. But in terms of prioritizing my health, I made it a mission to start unpacking things. And when you're in a place of survival, all you want to do is survive, right? So you just go find whatever you can to keep going. But then it's when you move out of that survival mode and have the space to actually work on your health that you can get to amazing points. So I went back to my
Mm-hmm.
naturopath a couple of months ago and he tested me and he's like, "What do you need?" And I said, "I don't know. What do I need?" And he said, "Nothing." And I'm like, oh, this is the person that was going in every week, taking home a box of things, to maintain my
Mm-hmm.
health, to keep me okay, to the point of not needing anything. And it's not that I haven't got
Wow.
other things that, yeah, exactly. And I still do other things. Like I do a lot of work with frequencies on my body. I go see a homeopath. I'm doing other things, but I make it a priority. Like I have a health appointment nearly like every week or every other week, and it's not to fix something, it's to actually
Mm-hmm.
maintain and
To
boost my
prevent.
health. So that
Gotcha.
exactly. So it's when you're in those places of homeostasis that you can do the best changes because it's when
Mm-hmm.
we're complacent that then we go into crisis and we can't pick ourselves out of it really quickly. And if you strengthen your immune system and you work on, you
Yes.
know, especially for me, I've been working on reversing the impact of all the stress. So I couldn't eat
Mm-hmm.
meat for years. I couldn't eat meat. And
Wow.
people are like, "Why are you vegetarian? Is it like a belief thing?" And I'm like, "No, actually, my body doesn't like meat. Like it rejected it. Like it made me feel really, really unwell. Lots of other things
Mm.
happened, which I won't go into detail. But my digestive system couldn't process meat. So I worked really
Mm-hmm.
hard with an acupuncturist. And because I wasn't having the stress all the time, the stress was, draining my stomach acid.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't actually process meat. And now I can eat meat again. And I actually crave
Wow.
it because my body was actually missing the iron because it needed the iron. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying for everyone that they have to eat meat, but if you listen to your body and what it needs, it normally
Mm-hmm.
tells you, like, but
That's
then
true.
other days, yeah, and other days I'm like, I don't even want to look at that. I just want a big bowl of like amazing salad with spinach and
Yes,
everything else.
yes, I
So
love salad.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I will always happily choose a salad over meat anyway. But occasionally I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, I could really go like a homemade hamburger, or something
Yes,
like
yeah,
that. So
definitely.
yeah. So again, that's how, health became my priority. And, this week alone, I've been on two different appointments, like, unpacking things because we always have healing to do. We always have layers of
Yes.
ourselves that we can peel back and keep. And that's part of being human. The
Mm-hmm.
journey never ends. And people go, when will it end? When you die. Because
Yeah.
if you're not always looking for some way to grow, if you're not looking for some way to, improve your life, then you're actually not living. If you're not challenging yourself each
Mm-hmm.
day or looking to do 1% better each day, then you're actually
Mm-hmm.
just in a place of homeostasis and you're just one step closer to dying.
Yeah, that's true. And it's something you said earlier too, is like we're always changing as women, well even women and men, but you're always changing. Like you're not gonna be the same person that you were 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So
Or
getting
yesterday.
to know, yeah, or yesterday. So just getting to know yourself on those different levels and reevaluating is important. So
Yeah, definitely. And, being giving yourself grace in that because your values will
yes,
change,
that's
your
so
standards will
important.
change. Yeah, and as you learn more about yourself and learn more about your journey, like if I met people, I don't have friends from high school because we just didn't resonate anymore, and it all kind of fell
Right,
away.
yeah.
And yeah, and that's okay because, a lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
worried if they change, they'll lose people in their lives. But it's really important to remember that, people come into your life for a reason, a season, a cycle, or a lifetime. And,
Yep.
when you remember that, then you just think, okay, well, they weren't meant to be in my life anymore. How often do you hear of people that, might have been in a relationship and live in the same street, and after they
Mm-hmm.
break up, they never see each other again? It's not because they're
Right.
avoiding each other. It's because that's just done, right? That part of
Right.
their life. So it's really interesting. Or you'll go to a random holiday location or vacation, vacation spot, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you see someone from high school, and you're like, what? So
Yeah, that's true.
if you're meant if you're meant to meet somebody, or someone's meant to be in your life in that time, the universe is very clever at orchestrating that.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Well, Catherine, I have really enjoyed interviewing you today. What are a few things that you would leave with our listeners today?
I guess the biggest thing is to listen to what feels right for you, whether it's with your health, your business, your family, and prioritize you. And it's not selfish, it's actually self-full,
Right.
because the more you can honor you and fill up your cup, when that
Mm-hmm.
overflow is happening, it's going to support all those people around you. And
Mm-hmm.
you are the centerpiece of your life. So why not make that a priority? Why not focus on
I
you
love
and make
that.
sure that, yeah, make sure that you are the ones that are happening for you and making it happen, and not to be passive in your life, because
Mm-hmm.
God isn't going to save you unless you make moves to save yourself first.
Right. Yes, that's so true. I love that. You are the centerpiece of your life. And we just actually did
Mm.
a episode recently about self-care. So that's cool. But
Perfect. Look at it tying in.
yeah. Right. Um, but we thank you so much for being a guest on the Women on the Rise. Well, I'm sorry, being one of the Women on the Rise, being featured on the Women on the Rise podcast, and being a guest on BFF Empowerment. And we really appreciate you. I have definitely enjoyed meeting you and getting to know you and interviewing you. And so if you have any final words, if you would like to share your website or anything, you can, and then I will do our closing.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So, yeah, if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, I'm very active on there. So it's Willow Healing SH. Willow is WILLOW, then healing, and then S and H. And I often do a lot of things on there. So check that out. You can check out my Substack as well, which is willowhealing.substack.com, which will allow you to get access to our podcast too, which is Willow Healing Matters. And as well as I send out just a powerful empowerment piece every week as well, just to, land in your inbox and go, oh yeah, I can do that, just to, yeah. And, and if you want to work with me, definitely connect with me on Instagram, because we can have a really powerful conversation and set up a time as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to today's Women on the Rise interview. We look forward to seeing you next time on the BFF Empowerment Podcast. And remember that you are fearless, you are bold, and you are beautiful. Until next time, thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
You're welcome. Hold on one second.
BFF, we rise above, stronger together we shine.